Right, people, it's time for another introducing, and we've got a guy on who's been in a number of bands with a few successful albums, and he's just launched in his own solo album, and we'll bring him on screen now, and he can introduce himself. Let me just get that for us there. There we go. That's the one. There you go. You're on.
Hello, everyone.
Excellent.
My name's Dan.
Go on. Sorry, I interrupted you then.
That's all right. My name is Daniel Steer. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, man. Really good to have you on, and we really appreciate it. Been listening to your work and some of your other stuff before the show, because obviously you was in a couple of other bands, weren't you?
Yeah, there's been a few different formats over the years, but yeah, it's all part of the process, I think. There's been some good memories, some quite different music along the way, but yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah, well, it is. Life's a journey. So we're always moving on, always doing different things, aren't we? But what made you decide to go solo? Is it just that sort of evolution?
Yeah, I don't know. Even the solo stuff kind of is quite band orientated, guitar, bass, drums, that kind of thing. So I'll always be like this little indie kid at heart with my, wanting to be a member of the Kooks or the Libertines back in the day. But yeah, so it's, even though I'm solo, it doesn't mean it's not like just one man is his guitar. It's not, but I think less people to organise. People have babies and can't do the shows and things like that. Just life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life, I wouldn't say in the way life changes for people.
Yeah, it's always difficult, only when you're just yourself to worry about, then there's only you to worry about, and then and you can have session band members and all the rest of it. But then when there's 4 or 5 in the band, it could quite easily get messy, can't it? It can quite easily get to a point where things do change, life changes, people have different priorities, don't they? Obviously, families and what have you. So yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it happens with the most famous bands. They still keep the same name, but people come and go. There's even bands with I can't think of any offhand, but I think the Drifters, how many of those are like original?
Yeah, I saw them back in the early 80s. They're still going now. They're totally different people, aren't they?
Yeah. So yeah, I just think, fair play to people for wanting to change. But I've just got a need to write songs and, carry on playing live and just hopefully connecting with people on some level with some of the words that I write.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I mean, what we've done, the format of the show, we've got 2 or 3 videos from 2000, your album from 2019, 2020, and then your latest track, and we'll end the show with that. That's what we'll end the show with for people. That's what we tend to do. We try and put the videos on. If bands have got videos, it makes it a bit more interesting for the interview.
Definitely.
So if anyone's on Mixcloud, you got any questions, then drop them in. If you're watching on YouTube, makes no sense at all, and it won't matter what you do because it won't happen. But so you're touring currently?
Not at the moment. It's been a bit of a weird one, with obviously the C thing that everyone's sick of. But no, definitely we're getting some dates in the diary now, and there's going to be a tour later this year. So that will give me a chance to put out some new material that I've been writing for the last couple of years. I think as well, there's quite an oversaturation. I noticed it in the festival season this year, getting gigs and stuff like that. I think everyone's so hungry for it to get back to it.
Yeah.
And there is a pecking order.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you could. We really felt the buzz of it for Isle of Wight, then Glastonbury, the big festivals, and there's little festivals going on, and people are going. My lad's in Croatia at the moment watching a 5-day dance music festival, so he's having a time of his life. But I think both the viewers, the audience, want to get back out there and enjoy that because they've missed it. But like you say, it's like, right, who are we going to have on? There's lots of bands out there. Who are you going to have on? And there's lots of up and coming emerging artists as well, all scrambling for those few positions, isn't they?
Yeah, and I've noticed it as well because I do songwriting as well with other artists. Obviously, for the past 3 years, when you haven't been able to get out and play live, all those kind of session guys that would just be on the road constantly kind of thought, well, what am I going to do now? And they jumped into the world of songwriting and co-writing. So that side of the industry got really kind of oversaturated, which, fair enough, everyone's got to work. But it's just about everything kind of settling down a little bit more, getting, all the players to settle into their game, find their place, and then, I think it's going to be good. And I think we're going to look forward to another, I think the next couple of years of festivals is going to be, life-changing.
Yeah, I agree. And what will tend to happen, those artists that have started because of those circumstances, it's not their first thing they were going to do, and maybe a lot of them will, they'll drift past. Once they're not getting booked for anything or whatever, it'll fizzle out and it'll level off again. So, but yeah, there's lots of talent out there, lots and lots of talent, and it's a tough industry to be in, isn't it? Whether you're on this side of the screen or you're on the stage or whatever, it's tough. It's
quite cutthroat and it's quite brutal. You just got to have thick skin, which I haven't got, and you've just got kind of it's just nice to be nice. You just got to treat everyone how you want to be treated, like even down to the crew and people that are just kind of setting up the dressing room, and even after the show, the people that are cleaning up the venue and stuff like that. If you just appreciate people, you realise how many people go into making an actual live gig happen.
Yeah.
And it's, doing things like the O2, and I've been to so many gigs, you see how colossal it is and how many people it takes to put on one show. It's like,
yeah, it's crazy. I think people just turn up and see the band's on their stage. Yeah, great.
That's all they see, and then they go home. It's not about the hours and hours of everyone rigging the actual stage, and they're like flying stuff with hoists, and it's just really impressive.
Well, you think about it, when that all finishes, say a band finishes at, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock at night, then the roadies have got to come on and strip it all down and move it to the next gig for the next place for the next gig to the next day, aren't they? It's
honestly, and they don't mess around at all, because they know as soon as they get all the stuff in the Arctic lorry, they can have a few beers. And I tell you what, you've never seen more grown men working harder than people that want to pack up as quick as possible and get to the hotel for a beer.
Yeah, it's a tough job, but I bet it's also a good job, that as well. Do you know what I mean? I bet it's a good laugh, because they get to see the bands as well, don't they, if they want? And
yeah, they get to see the bands, and the music industry is quite it's a lot smaller than you'd think it was. That everyone knows everyone. And a lot of the roadies, if they haven't got work with one band, they'll be like, all right, mate, do you want to go out with, I don't know, Stereophonics? And then people swap and share, and it's quite a nice family.
Yeah, cool.
Same goes for the writing world as well. It's amazing the amount of people, the same people that you see cropping up that have written for the big fish.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to make a note here. Get in with some roadies.
With some roadies.
Get in with the roadies, because they can get you to it. They can get all the they can get you the links to everyone, can't they? The roadies.
Yeah, key holders. Get in with the roadies. Get in with the merch sellers.
Yeah, cool. I think what we'll do, I'm going to play one of your tracks here. It's The Wire.
Yes.
Yeah, from 2019. I think it was on the 2020 album, wasn't it? It was 2019. It said the video was released. So
that was my first solo pop. And it was all right. It was nice to do. I worked with a really talented guitarist, producer, who is the guitarist for Feeder at the moment.
Nice.
It was really great to work with, and he really helped me bring the songs to life. And really proud of that album. It'll be weird to hear it again. I haven't listened to any of those songs for such a long time.
Cool. We're going to watch the video now. We won't be on screen while the video's playing. So everyone out there, as we say, cue the VT and enjoy this. Be right back.
Let me go. I forget my name. Tell me secrets scaring through the pain. Don't think I can stay away, but I try. I'm so close to falling. You were the wire running through my veins, with the fire sent to take my pain. My everything and
There you go, people. Think of that. Absolutely wonderful. That's not bad for a first single, is it? Obviously. Right, we'll bring you back on screen. I like that, man. Like it. It's good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Everything's just a learning curve. You listen to things and you think, wow, I wish I'd have done that differently. But it was all right. It went well.
It's great. It's nice. It's a lovely track. It's got a nice sound to it. It's you could pull it on at any time, couldn't you? Do you know what I mean? It's a nice track.
Yeah, man. I'm proud of it, to be honest. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, there's people commenting on the YouTube. What does it say? Danny's a great songwriter and brilliant performer. Deserves to be a huge star. That's nice. That's from your YouTube channel. So who's put on? Someone's put a few questions on. Let's have a look at it. That's what it says. Where'd you get your inspiration from for your writing?
Down a big dark hole of misery. No, it's all, I don't know, just life experiences, things that pop into my head. I find it's a great kind of creative. It's an outlet. It's kind of like my therapy. So I'll write it down, think about it, and sometimes it makes you make sense of things that are going on in your life and kind of provides a moment of clarity, and if nothing else, a bit of distraction while you're doing something that you really love.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of artists are very similar, aren't they? It's their experience that come through. Might not be everything, word for word or what's happened, but I think some of the, like you said, desperation, some of the bad things that happen to us, breakups or people that pass away, and all, they have a massive impact on us, and can unleash that creativity, can't they?
Definitely. Some of the best songs that have ever been written are about the darkest of things. But, I think the key is to kind of turn a negative into a positive, and there needs to be some hope. And, well, not every song. Sometimes it's nice to have a bloody good moan, but it's good to have a balance.
It is.
Right, really sad lyrics with some really happy music. There we go. Like the Kinks did.
Yeah, well, I've interviewed a few bands, and they go, "Oh, I love this track. What's it about? Oh, it's about this. It's about that." And you think, "Hang on a minute, that what you're describing is not what I'm hearing." Yeah, oh, it's about this. It's about that, and then you play it and go, "I can see where they're coming from." But it's the music's so upbeat, and you think, "Oh, loving this," and it's like something disastrous has happened. It's amazing, really. How you can twist that round.
The beauty of it, the kind of interpretation. Everyone can take something different from anything. What one person really loves, another person can hate, and I like that. Yeah.
Oh, Eddie's been on. He said, "What's the first instrument you played successfully?" Oh, not just played successfully. He's saying, he's putting a caveat on there.
we won't talk about the violin because that was an absolute disaster.
Great for the neighbours, the violins.
Oh God! But my darling grandmother, rest in peace, she took me under her wing and taught me piano. The likes of Chopin, Tchaikovsky, and all those sorts of guys. So I got a little bit of a knowledge for, the theory behind music and the way it works, and all the notation and stuff like that. And I started doing my grades on piano, and then I got to the age where I thought. I was going to swear there. I'm not going to. I thought, no, I'm not doing this. I am going to write my own music. I'm not going to learning other people's music. And then I started writing songs. But now, actually, weirdly, I've started relearning all the theory over again. It helps you songwrite. It helps you grow. I don't think you can ever know too much music theory. So do your scales, kids.
Yeah, my lad did it. And there's no issue. If you want to swear on this show, it's not a problem to me. It doesn't bother me one bit. My lad did that. He got up to quite up the grades, and then I think he got to the point where he's like, sod this. And he just... Yeah. And in fact, I think it was the old COVID again, because he used to go to a private tutor up the road, and she used to teach him. But obviously, when it all kicked off, he had to stop, and he sort of stopped. He got out of it then. So still got electronic piano in the front room, but whether he comes back to it, I don't know. But he's into music, but he's not. He did really well. I
did it when I was a kid. I was obsessed with the piano, learning and stuff. This was before I wrote, and then I just went completely off it. I think due to the pressure of lessons, going to if you push people too hard, sometimes it can have the adverse effect of making them not want to do it. But yeah, I had a break, and if you go back to it, good. I think it's one of those things you can always go back to, no matter how old you are.
Yeah. I couldn't read it. I struggle with English. Never mind blooming notes and all the rest of it. I just know what I like to listen to.
You'll be all right. I'll give you a piano lesson. We'll get you on the move.
I've got a drum kit. I've still not got to. It's got it set up where that chair is. My drum kit. Got it. Put it back. And
right, we're definitely having a jam then.
Try and get that going again. So I had to move it all out. My lad moves it every time he brings his mates round and uses my studio, and I come in and everything's upside down and moves. Get rid of this drum kit, Dad. No, I'll learn to play it. It's my studio. Sarah. Oh, here, Sarah Woodward's on. Good evening, Sarah. What was the biggest gig you've ever played?
To San Zero. It was at the San Zero Stadium, and we supported Bon Jovi there.
Oh, nice.
That was good. And yeah, we played a few festivals. European festivals are the ones. They have massive crowds. They're just up for it. I think people in England or the UK they're too cool for school in terms of like showing their appreciation at the time.
Yeah.
But afterwards, they're like, that was good. But at the time, you're kind of looking out thinking, what they're actually thinking. Whereas in places like Poland, where we played, and India, Russia, they're all kind of like throw themselves into it, which is lovely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's interesting. I lived in mainland Europe for a year or so, and I really enjoyed it. Holland and Belgium, and you go to festivals around, you see everyone dressed up. Do you know what I mean? Well, something going on. A lot of cowboys. Where the bloody hell's all? Honestly, must be a concert on somewhere. They're all up for it. So it's cool. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh no, he's trying to bring in other things. We interviewed. This is Eddie, one of the presenters. We had a guy on last week who said he jumped the fence at Glastonbury. So he's asked the question now. He's remembered that. Have you ever jumped the fence to get into a festival?
I actually don't believe that anyone's jumped the fence this year, because I think it's pretty much impossible unless you kind of had like employed some people to turn up, help you up the wall and take a ladder away and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen footage of people like sneaking in. There was a group of lads carrying what looked like a tent, but it was actually their mate. That was quite good. I saw that on TikTok. That was
awesome.
And then there was these other two people that dressed as paramedics and walked straight in. Awesome. That was quite good. But no, you've got to play the game.
Exactly.
So the artists get paid and the festival organizer, obviously.
Yeah, everyone needs to take everyone's got to take a slice out of the pie, haven't they? And on that point, I saw something somewhere ages ago, and there's a theory, and this guy tried it, where if you've got a ladder, you can get in anywhere. They just let you in. You're walking in with a ladder, just let them in. Come on, let's straight in. Think you're working. It's nuts. A ladder.
That's actually a good point. Ladder and a high-vis jacket.
High-vis jacket and getting anywhere. Yeah. It's been known back in the day for the TVs to be nicked out of the pub because they just go in high-vis jacket. Oh, taking TV for repair. All right, okay then. Yeah, cheers. Take the TV off the wall. Off they go. Nightmare. So have you been to see any bands this year, or have you avoided it?
I haven't seen any bands this year. Not because I've avoided it on purpose. I think that comes with it as well, a bit of social anxiety as well. It took me a bit of time to even kind of get used to being in situations with large crowds again.
Yes, yeah.
After spending so much time on your own, it's a bit of a weird thing. You take it for granted, like human interaction. And we went through a phase where all you saw was like the eyes of people. And it's a bit of a weird thing getting back into it. And then as well, there was the thing about, I was like, we'll be in another lockdown. Like, Boris is a knob.
Yeah, agreed on that.
Yeah, and so kind of booking tickets and doing things, I kind of held off. And then, and holidays as well.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, I'll book a holiday. At least we'll have something to look forward to. And now everyone's cancelling flights left, right and centre. People are stranded. So it looks like button for me.
It is absolutely. You're right, because there was a festival on we were supposed to be covering it last month, and that got cancelled because people that poor sales, and I know there's been quite a few concerts cancelled and festivals this year because of that, and they've been put off till next year. It's still affecting things, but they're obviously the big.
It's quite a lot of festivals and tours and gigs and stuff. They've gone under. People have they're not happening again because people have lost so much. Anyway, it's all a bit doom and gloom, isn't it? But these people need to be mentioned. We can't just brush it all under the carpet like nothing's ever.
No, it's part of the culture, part of the industry, and it needs to be. Lots
of people have had to leave the industry. I know people like set designers and costume designers from the West End and stuff. I know people that have gone to driving. Delivery driving for well-known supermarkets and stuff like that. And that's, I've got a lot of admiration for that, for people that have just got on with it and carried on earning money and not thought, oh, no, I'm too good for that.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a friend who...
I went on a building site for a bit.
Yeah.
Now my back is permanently broken.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. I did it when I left school, and then before music started taking over my life, and it's kind of a bit weird to get back onto site.
Yeah, it is. But totally different world, isn't it? Totally different. But you're right. It's affected loads of people. Anyway, enough of that. The craziest thing that's happened at a gig. Or if you want to do one that's not the craziest, in case it's too crazy, it's up to you.
Craziest thing that's happened at a gig. I don't know. I think the craziest things tended to happen after the gigs.
Cool. That'll be in your memoir. That'll be in your memoirs then, will it? That'll be in the autobiography.
Yeah, it will be when I'm free of any risk of legal action. But I don't know. When you're gigging and stuff like that, you meet some crazy people. I know we did a tour we went out to play a festival called Altitude Festival in the Alps.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up sharing a chalet with some comedians and a DJ. And I remember our bass player rolling around in a flower bed with Heston Blumenthal. And, it's just all a bit weird. It's like when worlds collide, it doesn't make sense, but it's kind of... Yeah, and then actually probably one of the weirdest things as well is me and my bass player actually getting in a fight, him chasing me around with a guitar by the Colosseum in Rome, and then storming off and then going to the British Embassy in Rome because he wanted to get home and didn't have his passport. That was quite a crazy situation. I mean, there's been loads of things like that.
Rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll. Love it. That's absolutely wonderful. It's fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. So, what's the plans for the rest of the year? You obviously you've got your album. That's one reason why you're on. You're releasing a solo album, are you?
Yeah. That was just a little taster. This song that I've just put out, but I've written some very different songs, and I've kind of got into the mindset as well. Quite a lot of everything that I've written, I've kind of wanted to get an album that sounds coherent, and it's kind of all relatable type, same kind of genre. Whereas now I just kind of think, if I'm in the mood, I write it. And if it sounds the way it does, then that's cool. It doesn't have to sound, like a concise sound. And I think, the way people listen to music as well now with Spotify and the shuffle button and stuff like that, people don't tend to listen to a whole album. I mean, some people do, but a lot of people don't have the attention span for listening to a full. I don't. I just... listen to bits, and I'm like, that's not for me. Then you skip to something else.
Yeah.
And that's the world we live in right now. So yeah, I'm just writing songs, kind of getting excited about expressing myself in a way that other people might be able to relate to.
No, it's good because there's pros and cons in that, isn't there? Because not everybody, you might release an album that's all almost like a story from start to finish, and all sounds the same. If people don't like that sound, then you've lost them. But they might actually go onto one of your tracks and go, "Oh, I love this. It's a ballad, or it's whatever, depending who the artist is, or it's it's more rocky or more indie." And then they go, "Yeah, I like this," and they'll be on. That might be the only track on the album they like. So
there's a prime example of that. If you look at Metallica and then the song Nothing Else Matters, which is like their ballad.
Yeah, that is a stunning track, isn't it?
beautiful track, but it's kind of like, I know lots of people that know Metallica for that one song because it is a beautiful track, but that's as far as they go with Metallica.
Yeah,
you know?
because it's in your face. The rest of it's in your face, so they don't want that, do they?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't think there's a problem with that at all. People, people, and sometimes I put on music and I put on a song that I know I love, but I'm just not in the mood for it, and I'll just be like, I don't need to listen to that today.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just all about mindset and where you're at. But yeah, that's the beauty.
Exactly. And anyway, it's your album, so you can do what you want with it. We're gonna play another video now. Monster. Is there a story behind that one, or what's this about?
Oh, it's just about kind of just being a bit of a animal and having that alter ego and becoming someone. I think everyone's got it.
Yeah.
You look at most middle-aged men at a wedding, they turn into someone that you've never even seen before. And people have the tendency to sometimes just act a bit crazy, and that was it. It's just kind of like, now, you've made me a monster. Now I'm your monster. It's kind of like relationships turn people into things they don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
I think everyone can relate to being that side, the Hulk side of personality.
Yeah, I think Robbie Williams released one, didn't he? Which was Me and My Monkey. Oh, Monkey, whatever. Yeah. I mean, that is, when you listen to that, you think, oh, he was in a dark place then, wasn't
he? Yeah. I think Robbie Williams is amazing, to be fair.
I do. I've seen it. I've seen him live at Nebworth, and just after all the rubbish, and he was in a bad place, and he come on stage and just burst into tears. He was emotionally taken away by the reception he got from everyone. Mind you, when you're flying in an helicopter, it does help, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, when you're flying in a helicopter and delivered to the stage on a golf buggy, it does help.
Right, we're going to play this, people. We'll be right back. Cue the VT.
Itchy eyes like blood on my nose. One hit and I'm out of control, and I breathe you in, breathe out desperation. In the town, 'cause I thought you were out.
Awesome. I was talking to Daniel Stay on Duggystone Radio's Introducing. Cool video, man. Like that.
Yeah, it's a bit different. I don't know. You need something to look at when you're listening to the song. And I think, it doesn't always have to be the band in a warehouse with pyrotechnics. Sometimes actually it's a really simple lyric video I've actually had quite a connection with, because you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it doesn't have to be, full on stage, and it can be a bit abstract, but that relates to the video. The video relates to the great for audio. This, by the way, when it goes on podcast, the video, relates to the story, doesn't it? It's a bit eerie, bit. You can't make everything out, gas mask on and what have you. It looks.
It's a bit dark, and so is the song, and I think it's different, and it's cheaper than we don't all have the luxury of getting 120 grand from Sony. Other labels are available to pay for your video.
Yeah, and they don't always need to be, do they? Some videos are they are good because of what they've done in the background and the expertise that they've got, but they don't need to be. I think especially for a lot of bands, and what I like to do because we do live streaming, is we like to put the video on, because it sort of breaks the show up and gives people something to look at rather than just looking at us. And I think it's good to have videos on there, and that's a great way to do it. And if it's cost effective, why not? And it's effective. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I think, some of the nicest videos that I've seen and the most genuine, you see like buskers playing in the street and they film that and that's their video. You want to feel connected to something for certain situations, like singer-songwriters and stuff like that. But sometimes you just want to, if you look at some Pink Floyd videos and things like that, sometimes you want to be taken on a bit more of a journey.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely do. So I've got another question. Have you got any rituals before you go on performing?
Rituals? Back in the day, when I was young and naive, my ritual used to be probably drinking too much and having fun with my friends to try and distract from the fact that there was lots of pressure and people wanted me not to fuck up. But no, I think now actually, when I'm a bit older, I just go and take myself off. I go and sit in my van or go and sit in the dressing room and just like think of what I'm going to do, think of what I'm going to play. It never goes to plan. But at least it gives me that moment of control where I can kind of think, right, I'm going on stage and I've got a plan, and you've just got to be able to deviate from the plan and accept the fact that things are going to go wrong, guitar strings are going to break, things aren't going to work, you're not going to be able to hear yourself, you're going to think people aren't paying attention, but they probably are, so you can't get psyched out by all those things. It's been a learning curve. And there's been many times where I've had like imposter syndrome. I've thought I've freaked myself out on stage, thinking that people don't care. And then afterwards, they're like, you played really well, best I've seen you. And I'm like, I thought that was a rubbish gig. So you can never really tell. So you got to give it the best shot every time.
I think there's a couple of things there. You've prepared something, so that I think that is best, because then if you go on stage, at least you have a plan. And if it changes because, hey, something happens in the audience or something changes, then you've got to adapt to it. But I get what you're talking about, because I do public speaking in schools and sixth forms and stuff like that. And I remember I did one at this school, and I thought, look at these, they're absolutely bored to death. Yeah. That I'm not, and I part way through, I felt like walking off. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you do.
Walk off. And then at the end of it, I had about 15 to 20 kids queuing up to talk to me. And the charity I work for, she went, I have never seen that ever before. That's ridiculous.
You can never really tell. And sometimes, your mind's a powerful thing and can create quite a lot of good, but also it can be your worst enemy. And if you kind of get bogged down with thinking this is going terribly, I'm not good enough, no one's into it or whatever, they'll see through it. Everyone will see through everything that you're thinking. So you've just got to think, I can do it, but not in an arrogant way, just in a way that you're confident about your trade. Just like a bricklayer would turn up and build a wall. They wouldn't go, oh, they might be watching me. What if they think the house is going to fall down? So yeah, I just think there's a certain amount of, as well, as you get older, you learn all these things.
I think it's the experience as well, isn't it? Because what happens is you've had the mistakes where the guitar strings broke or something else went wrong. I mean, I went to watch a Brothers Osborne a couple of years ago in Manchester, and the drummer kicked a hole in the front of his bass drum. You know what I mean? And like we're millions of miles away from home, thousands of miles away from home. We've only brought one set of drums with us, so let's go and borrow a set. Right?
Yeah, there's two things you can do in that moment, which I've done before, is frozen, panicked because the plan's changed, or I've been in a gig where the PA's just all shut down and then just picked up an acoustic guitar and just stood on a table in the middle of the crowd and carried on playing. But I wouldn't have had the confidence to do that when I was a youngster. Yeah.
And I bet that was really special for the audience because that wasn't planned. They're not expecting it, and they're like, "Oh, this is intimate." You know what I mean? That's
yeah. And then everyone feels like they've been part of something that no one else on the tour will be part of.
Yeah,
and those moments are quite special.
And or you might plan it so it appears that the PA's gone down because it always works really well that you get the acoustic guitar out.
Yeah. But now with the power of social media as well, people will rat you out quicker than you can.
Yeah, he did that at the last concert.
Yeah, he did that in Hamburg.
I've seen that. I've seen that before. I've seen it before.
Yeah. So it's like quite a common thing as well. Is the big bands like Foo Fighters and the Killers picking a random member of the audience out of the band, so guitar or drums. I mean, some of them do it genuinely.
Yeah. Especially when you see the young kids come on and start doing stuff. I've seen rappers do it where they've got people up and thought, you're only a young lad, and then blown away by, wow, look, he's really good. But yeah. My son can sing. Oh, that's been set up on it. My son can sing. Here he is. He's about 42, love, was he? Yeah, he's in the band. A bit like the magician, isn't it? Picking someone random from the audience.
Some random has no connection to anything.
Oh, it's bloody great. So, what other interests have you got besides obviously music? You know,
Well, this is the thing. I am torn. I live by the coast in Devon.
Oh, nice.
So I am a water baby. Love being in the sea. Love paddleboarding, surfing. Whenever there is any kind of, any sign of any surf, I'm in. I get really excited. But also I love the diversity and the opportunity and the freedom of London and the freedom of expression to wear what you want, be who you want, or any major city. Like every city has got some amazing qualities, like Manchester, Liverpool. They're all just, in fact, I think the further up north you get, the more friendly people are.
Yeah, I agree. I'm from Manchester, and I have to agree with Liverpool, Manchester.
An amazing music scene. The further north you get, and we're just little Devonshire dumplings, and people are quite reserved here. But it's I'm into I was going to say water sports then, but not in the way that you think.
Surfing. You're surfing, you mean, don't you? And all that sort of.
Yeah, surfing, paddleboarding. I also enjoy playing squash. I love squash. All those things.
But yeah, so I mean it's a lovely part though. I love Devon and Cornwall, and we've gone for years and years, and we're not going this year, but I was there last year. There's just something about it. I know they don't like us tourists there, but it's a beautiful part of the world. I love it, absolutely love it. But you're right.
You said that, but they're kind of like, it's bittersweet because we need you guys to come to keep everyone in work and keep everyone's. What people don't like is, if anyone's listening, that has a £4 million house in London that I think of buying another little lovely holiday home that's going to sit empty most of the year, maybe rethink that one. But tourists in general, it's part and parcel. If you were to move to Newquay or Polzeath or, Torquay or somewhere like that, it's part and there's always been and there always will be tourists, and that's just how it is. And we need you.
I like Newquay.
You need it.
I like Newquay. It's lovely. Watergate Bay. It's absolutely
beautiful,
stunning. We go there regularly. Go there. There was something I was going to say then about all that. Oh yeah, because where was the place we used to go? On the Roseland Peninsula in Cornwall, and we used to go stay around there on one of the campsites and go into this locally into this little old fishing village, and after a number of years you could tell there was more and more Londoners there, and to the point where went into the bar one day, we stopped going in, went into the bar one day, and they actually ignored me and served people that came in after me because they were, you know what I mean, the toffs. And I'll get to my point in a minute. We went and sat outside, right, on the benches, and there's this old guy sat in this little bungalow, you know, little terrace or old fisherman's cottage, yeah? I think it was like upstairs and downstairs. And he must have been in his 80s and 90s. And these two young girls says, oh, yeah, my mum and dad are waiting for him to die so we can buy downstairs. And I'm thinking, well...
What?
Seriously, that's what they said outside the pub. And I'm like, oh, man, what a world we live in. They're wishing him dead so they can buy his place. But I get you. I get you. It's not good, is it? It's not... that spoils it because that home's then... lay dormant for most of the year, and they just rock up whenever they want to, and all the rest of it. So,
I mean, a lot of them are kind of like, you know, there are people that do good for the communities, people from London that work on charities and that are really up for like investing in houses and stuff like that, and they'll rent them out affordably to locals that don't have housing and stuff like that. So you can't tarnish everyone with the same brush.
Excellent.
But it is a problem, and you know, just like pollution in the beautiful places where we live and making people take home what they bring to the beach and stuff like that. Same old stuff. But a lot of people don't know. It's education. It's fine. Just come and enjoy the Southwest scenery and respect it. And that's it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be told to take your rubbish away. So it's a bit of a basic thing that you're taught when you're a kid. Pick your rubbish up. I know it's ridiculous, mate. Same as the festivals, they all leave the tents and everything, don't they? Can carry it in, but can't carry it out again because they've done too much. Oh, yeah. Someone's just reminded me because we'll play another track in a second. Because wow, time zoomed by. We have a question that you can answer or you don't have to answer. Some bands say no, I'm not doing that, and some go, oh yeah. And they just splurge it all out. Room 101. Is there a band or artiste that you were slapping Room 101, never to be ever heard again? And I'll give you the time that the next track is playing to either say, I'm not answering it, or tell me who it is. It's entirely up to you. It's an on-the-spot question, that. Putting you on the spot. All right. So we're going to play this one. Hey, you'll have a think. PondSkating, live at the Momentum Studios. That's what we're going to play.
This is like a chilled out song. It's a bit of a different version to one that's on the album.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. I started it then. But I agree. It's it's you getting back into the piano.
Yeah, exactly. So it all goes full circle. Thinking of my grandma while I'm doing it, and it's all good.
Excellent. We'll be right back after this, people.
Happens beneath the no one should know. I'm so tired, my heart beats in its cage. I remember all the years gone by when we used to let it play. My mind is a spider's web and I'm waiting for the day you said you never loved me that way. Do it for the love, loving me. 'Cause I'm never gonna make a fake fairy tale. I can't believe you gotta do it for the love, loving me. everyone should know. My mind is a spider's web, and I'm waiting for the day I can forget you said you never loved me that way. Do it for the love, do it for the love, loving me. 'Cause I'm never gonna make a fake fairy tale I can't believe. You gotta do it for the love, do it for the love, loving me. I'm not waiting upon skating. Well, I'm tired of chasing fireflies. I'm nervous about fucking up my life. Do it for the love, do it for the love, loving me. 'Cause I'm never gonna make a fake fairy tale I can't believe. You gotta do it for the love, do it for the love, loving me. I'm not waiting, PondSkating. I'm not waiting.
Awesome. It's awesome. So we've got Daniel Steer on the show, introducing. I did mute you, man, so I don't know if you've unmuted yourself. Yeah, that's still mute. Oh, hang on, we don't want that one. let's stop that. Yeah, you're right.
Hello.
You're back in the room. Sorry, I muted you then because I could hear you chatting. So.
No, that's all right.
That track is beautiful, mate.
Thank you.
Beautiful, absolutely, and that's why I picked it. 2 reasons: it's totally different to some of your other stuff, and the video is simple, but I bet it took a lot to do as well. Love it.
Yeah, it was filmed by a very talented cameraman called Johnny Finnis in a very lovely studio run by Josiah Manning. And he is a guitarist for a band called the Chris Barris Band.
Right.
And they are signed to Mascot Records. And yeah, it's just a really nice community down there, and the room feels really special. And, you know, we moved the piano into the middle of the room, and it was just a proper moment. And it was a one-shot thing, so it wasn't like miming to the track to get the shot. It was the live feed from the desk, one continuous camera shot. So there's quite a lot of pressure, and it's all live, as you can hear by my questionable tuning at certain points. But I think, you know, at least it's live and people do the real thing.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the whole thing. That hopefully people will get it. When you see a video that looks dead easy and dead simple, it's not. And hats off to him for producing that, because I thought it was stunning and it made it very intimate. You playing on the piano, and you actually feel what you're singing. You feel part of that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful track.
Thank you so much, mate. That's so kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm sure if anyone listens to that, and that's definitely going to appear on some of my shows, because we play a lot of indie stuff and a lot of, you know, in your face. But I think that just calms the mood. Lovely, absolutely lovely.
That was probably one of the most enjoyable, like live-ish to be recorded, as in you only get one shot. That was one of the most enjoyable sessions I've done. And it was just a proper moment. And afterwards, we all kind of just sat there and went, it was nice. It was a good bonding session.
Yeah, I've only been in a couple of recording studios, and there's just something about it. You know, when you go in, you just feel, you know, it just feels right, doesn't it? It just feels nice. But to be a performer,
it's something different to playing it in your bedroom or playing it in somewhere where you live. Like when you walk into a space where so many people have played those instruments, you know, and sung on those microphones and walked into those rooms, and you know there's been arguments, there's been relationship breakups, there's been new friends made, there's been beautiful parties. I think there's something special, and that continues to. I know it sounds really like hippie, but it kind of lives in the walls in those places.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I think I know it's a different subject, but I think if you go to, I was in Birmingham at the weekend, and we ended up in near King's Heath, and we went into this old pub, with the high ceilings. The lights you get in some of the back ends of, London, the old ones, and you think, I bet this place could tell some stories. Do you know what I mean? I bet you could.
Pubs, and then also like, Peaky Blinders pubs and stuff like that. You think, if you've ever seen it, you just think that some of these pubs have been around since like even before that. Some pubs in Devon have been going since like the 1600s or something like that. They're definitely haunted. That's all I can say.
But imagine what's gone on, over the decades. Imagine what has gone on, and relating it back to what you're saying about going into the studio. It's I'm not religious, but it's almost like that religious experience, isn't it? You can feel what's gone on before you.
Yeah, you feel part of something, and I'm sure most people, or if not, then it is a thing where you've walked into a place where you've just felt, whoa, this feels amazing. I don't know why, it just feels great.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful stuff, mate. Wonderful. We're going to not finish this yet, but we're going to end the show with your latest track, which is a banger, and we've played it on a few of the shows already. Tell us a bit about that.
The latest track, I wrote this song. It was kind of a little bit of an experiment, really. There's a very talented, lovely, beautiful lady called PondSkating who lives in LA, and she's responsible for writing with Backstreet Boys, loads of really famous pop artists, and she co-wrote Christina Aguilera's "Genie in a Bottle," and it was I was just really excited to write with someone from that ilk. Someone that kind of like has from a different musical walk of life, and this is the result, and I'm really happy with it. It's very different to anything people watching and listening might have heard from me, but this is going back to what I was saying about just thinking about one song at a time rather than that doesn't fit on the album, so scrap it.
Yeah, because there's a trend. There is a trend at the minute. Some of the big bands will release albums, but over the last couple of years, we've noticed the trend of releasing tracks as singles, and because it then gets, like you said before, not everyone listens to the full album, so you've got one shot of the album, haven't you? Whereas I think that's why a lot of, especially emerging artists, are dropping single tracks, because us as presenters. Or radio stations are going to pick up on that, because it's going to hit whichever platforms we use and go, oh, it's a new track from them, What's the rationale for doing an album rather than just saying, do you know what, I'm just going to release 10 or 12 or whatever it is, singles? Was there a rationale behind that?
I don't know. I think people, the EPs have become more popular, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Like not EPs back in the day, but like a small body of work. And I think the turnaround as well. People used to go into a studio for months at a time. Then they would, it'd take a couple of months PR to promote the thing. But now people with technology, people are making things at home and making great sounding music at home, just on your laptop, on your iMac, with some really cool microphones that don't cost a lot of money. And with the platforms like Spotify, you just have to upload it. You don't have to send it off and then get it pressed and then have a test press and then realize you get to the last track on the second side and it kind of skips a bit. So yeah, I just think everything's a bit more accessible, and there's pros and cons of that. I think the love of the album artwork is gone. It's like,
yeah, no, I get
you. But there's also a lot of pros in terms of we're in a high consumer phase of humanity where people want more quickly. They want the latest iPhone, they want the latest car, they want the latest everything really quickly. And music has to be like that as well at this certain time. And I think it is exciting. People can evolve really quickly, put out stuff really quickly. And I'm not against it. I just don't want the magic to get lost along the way.
No, you're right. There's a couple of things there, because we've got a couple of artists, young lads, and they've done last few months have done really good stuff. But over in the corner, I've got a suitcase with all my singles in from the 80s, and I deliberately used to go into the record shop that I used to go every week, spend my money, so that I could get the picture disc. If I could get a picture disc, was made up. But so many of the initial releases were a picture cover, weren't they? And after that, you just got a plain cover. So I always tried to get it first so that I could have that. I used to stick them on my wall. I used to have all the sleeves on my wall.
Yeah, I did as well, and I love still going into like independent record stores and flicking through them, like, you know, that physical thing. And I think as well, a really important income for up and coming bands and artists that aren't that mainstream is a lot of them save kind of like tapes have come back into fashion. People are buying tapes again. That whole retro because I remember it, like tape players and stuff they're selling in like outfitters and record players and stuff like that. But it is really important. So if you ever go into a show and you see that they've got some vinyl and you see that they've got some tapes or some CDs, I think it's really important because a lot of bands and artists live literally, it does make the difference of the tour making it or breaking it financially.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Or support the artist by buying, you know, a T-shirt, an album, or something like that. I would say, from experience.
Yeah, you're right. We've got a lot of artists that we're rocking with at the minute, and they're all releasing vinyl. And someone else has put some of the emerging artists on as a CD. So he's created a compilation CD of all these emerging artists, and he's actually split the profits. He's doing it for the love of it. And anything that he makes might not be a lot of money, but he splits it with all the artists on the album. So
that's great. That's like how it used to work.
Yeah, Brits and Pieces he's called. I think he's done 2 or 3, and he's doing another one. And brilliant guy. Great idea. He just said, I love music, and I just wanted to do something. So I think for people that are really into music, or get into something, that whole buying the merch, the tapes, the CDs, the vinyl is going to be there, and a lot of the general public are just like Spotify or Apple iTunes.
Yeah, I think the amount of times that I've been to a gig and brought a T-shirt that I know I'll probably not wear out, but you just do it to kind of like play the game, show willing, help the artist out, and when you find it 10 years down the line, or your kids find it, they'll be like, what gig was this? So I think it's just special. You need to keep all those things.
You do, man. Well, I think we've taken up enough of your valuable time, and I could talk to you for hours, and I really appreciate you coming on. I think you're a very talented individual, really interesting to talk to, and your experience comes through, and we wish you all the success for the future. Please keep in touch. We'll be watching you, and when your album releases, we'll be listening to that, and we'll be sharing it with everyone. But we're going to wrap the show. We'll let you get on with your day, and we're going to wrap your show up with your latest track called Rebel. Oh, before you can go, I nearly forgot. We've been asking artists to do drops. Can you do a drop for us? Like, this is Daniel Steer, you're listening to Duggystone Radio, so I can play it on my show.
This is Daniel Steer. You're listening to, what was the radio?
Duggystone Radio.
This is Daniel Steer. You're listening to Duggystone Radio.
Thanks, mate. Lovely. We'll get that. We'll take that off, and we'll put it on as a jingle on the station. But
thank you so much for having me, mate. It's been so good to talk to you.
No, I knew. For me,
it didn't even feel like an interview. It felt like two mates catching up.
And that I've been interviewing. We're still recording. I've been interviewing for quite some time now, and I used to do a lot of business and dyslexia interviews, and this is one thing that I just love doing. For me, I like to get to know people, and I want all my interviews to be like you've just said, and I appreciate you saying that, is people are watching, listening to two guys who've met, sat having a drink or whatever, and they're having a conversation, go, this is an interesting conversation. And that's what I want it to be. It's want to not ask the standard questions, not get, all the stuffiness. It's just natural, and that's what it should be. Well,
you're extremely good at it, mate. So I look forward to the next time.
Thank you. Definitely, you've got to come back. And we're going to end with this. So thanks very much. Go and check him out. Go and find him if he's touring. Check his album out. Buy his merch, whatever. But we're going to end with this. You have a great evening, my friend.
Thank you.
And we've got Rebel. Duggystone Radio's introducing. Cue the... Oh, hang on. No VT with this one, is it?
Wake up, we're on the news.
See you later, mate. Thanks.
See you later.
Break me out, cut me loose. Let's shake this town and kick some dust. Gotta kick some dust. One day they'll remember us. Riding shotgun, learning to fly. Fighting for something with my head high. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Gotta get somewhere. My friends are renegades and crusaders. We're outlaws. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. There's a rebel in us all. We're gonna burn up the open road. The only way that I know. Dare to go where I've not been before. Raise the ceiling and move the floor. Riding shotgun, learning to fly. Fighting for something with my head high. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Gotta get me out of here. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Looking for trouble somewhere. My friends are renegades and crusaders. We're outlaws. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. There's a rebel in us all. I'm going where the city's full of life. Take me somewhere I feel alive. I keep driving into the sunlight, 'cause in the shadows no one survives. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Gotta get me out of here. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel. Looking for trouble somewhere. My friends are renegades and crusaders. We're outlaws. I'm a rebel, rebel, rebel.
Yeah.
Rebel in us all.
There's a rebel in us all. I think you wrote that about me. Absolutely wonderful. I adore doing these interviews. And another one ticked off. There you go. It's another one from The Wire. That was Daniel State. Wasn't he interesting? And yeah, every week I just look forward to doing speaking to each artist. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's loads more. If you're watching on Mixcloud, we do lots more of these. And also, if you're on the podcast, don't forget Dougie's Atomic Dustbin, which is on a Thursday morning, 8 till 10 UK time. And we normally have an introducing mini where we have artists that probably got 1 or 2 tracks out, and we'll do a nice 5, 10, 15-minute interview with them, and just to introduce it, and we do a video as well. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everyone that's been watching. And hey, if you like us, please share the broadcast, and please follow us. Why don't you subscribe to the YouTube channel? Until next time, I'm out of here, people. I'm out of here. I'm going. Let's should we start that track again? Lovely, innit? Until next time, stay safe. That was Daniel Steer.
Wake up, we're on the news. Break me out, cut me loose. Let's shake